Let's talk about a scoop that we absolutely did not have and had no idea was coming, although we kind of thought it might be. Alex Pietrangelo signing in Vegas, a 7-year, $61.6 million contract. It's funny, in the interview, he said he was kind of looking for a change of scenery. And I thought Greg Wyshynski had the best tweet, and I'm going to paraphrase it. He's like, yeah, for sure. You definitely wanted a change of scenery after you lobbied the St. Louis media to get re-signed in St. Louis. I'm sure that's what you wanted. Now, to be fair to Alex, Vegas seems like a pretty great destination to be. So,
and CJ brought that up,
right?
And I think on the note of what CJ said last show with regard to Vegas, I think we've had it all wrong. We've had it all wrong for 3 years, or at least in their inaugural season. Vegas is how our team's going to survive because they're just going to be partying all the time, and there's exactly 6 buildings in Vegas, and they're all casinos, and that's just where they're going to live. They're going to sleep 2 hours a night because oxygen will just be pumped at them 24/7. And CJ's like, no, they have nice suburbs.
Yeah,
pretty good price. It's a nice place to live.
Nice dry spot and good climate if you got asthma, guy like me.
Yeah, and he pitched Vegas the way I think Brian Burke would pitch Vegas, the way he kept talking about it on free agency day. He would talk about the family angle, and Pietrangelo's not a young player in this league anymore. Mm-hmm. He's a family man, and I think he was sold on that and all the money.
Yeah, sure, which is good. It's good money. Somebody did a calculation, and forgive me, I feel like it was it Sarah Valley? I forget who had it, but they basically said the equivalent of what he made is the equivalent to $9.4 million based on taxes in St. Louis. So, I have
the breakdown if you like.
Do you have it?
Yeah. So here's the breakdown, starting with signing bonus and going to base salary. So I'm gonna call it middle loaded. So it's similar to how you're going to see a lot, or how we have seen a lot of contracts, because no one has any money because of COVID. So starting with signing bonus and then base salary, it's 3-2, 3-2, 7-1. So Vegas better have some cash coming in 3 years from now. 8, 4.3, 8, 4.5, 6, 4, and then the final year of his contract is 0 in signing bonus and 8.8 in base salary, which is very interesting because he'll be, I think, 37 and having 8.8 in just salary. He has a no move clause, but that's as good as one. Because if he's 37 and wash, no one's going to want him at 8.8 base. That's tough.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So St. Louis signs Torrey Krug for 6.5 over 7.
Was it 7?
Yeah, it was
7 years. Yeah, 7 years. Alex signs. How much is the AAV, Steve?
8.8.
8.8. Why couldn't Doug Armstrong find that extra $2.3 million to keep Alex Pietrangelo?
Let's go back. Why couldn't he, Jesse?
Well, he could have. Why did he refuse to?
Because they went out and got Justin Falk. Why? I guess he seems to, I don't know, he's moving forward. Colton Parayko is going to be the number one guy on the team going forward, but that still leaves me with, why did they make the Justin Falk trade and give him all that money? Mm-hmm. At the risk of losing Alex Pietrangelo. You could have, if they didn't make the Falk trade, they could have Alex Pietrangelo and Torrey Krug right now, potentially.
Yeah.
They could. Especially if there wasn't any COVID.
You don't need him. You don't need Torrey Krug at that point. Because you need.
But you do it because it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it because it's really fun.
So that deal was signed last September, the Justin Falk one. So you think that's when they lost Pietrangelo?
Well, there were rumors at the time that he was kind of miffed about it because he's looking at the future going, am I not included in this? Because it was always going to be, they were going to lose one of, probably not Justin Falk because he just signed. So then it comes down to Petro, who walks, or Parayko, who you have to trade.
Right.
And Parayko's on, we've been talking for so long trying to galaxy brain a trade where Parayko comes to the Leafs. And the reason we do that is 1, he's really good at hockey. 2, he shoots right on defense. And 3, is the value of his contract spectacular. And that's the right side. They had a right side of Falk, Parayko, and friggin' Petro. You can't maintain that. You can do that for a few years, depending on how you finagled the contracts. But when they got Justin Falk, they made sure that it was going to be very difficult to keep Alex Pietrangelo. And it's nothing against Justin Falk. Go get your money. And he's not a bad hockey player, but he's not Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
And you lose your captain. No.
Well, something tells me that they wanted to, because all this seems a little too intentional.
It's weird, right?
Frankly, you can move $2 million, but they signed Torrey Krug up awfully quick.
Yep.
And I have a feeling, just a feeling, that their St. Louis management wanted to move on here for whatever reason. They made the Justin Falk move last year because they knew. And I just feel like it's something where Doug Wilson wanted to move on. He either didn't want to sign a 30-year-old, Armstrong, didn't want to sign a 30-year-old to an 8-year contract, which I don't blame him for. Didn't want to sign a 30-year-old to a 7-year contract, which I don't blame him for. I don't know how old Torrey Krug is, but I know Justin Falk's 28. Makes me feel a little better if I'm him, although Justin Falk is nowhere close.
29, Krug.
Torrey Krug's 29. So it's a little better.
I had no idea, by the way. I thought he was like 25.
Right? Yeah, I know. I was thinking Torrey Krug like he's 20. I have a feeling that he wanted, because they've spent the same amount of money. In fact, probably more. But to me, it seems like Armstrong wanted to move on here. If he had wanted to keep Pietrangelo would have been in St. Louis. It seems like Pietrangelo wanted to stay in St. Louis more than St. Louis wanted him. Now, I want to throw this out there because Doug Armstrong saved Vancouver's offseason. Saved it. If Doug Armstrong doesn't force Pietrangelo out of town, and that's the narrative I'm going with, because that's exactly what happened. Let's be honest. Let's just be straight. He didn't want to keep him. I don't know why he didn't want to keep him, but he didn't want to keep him. And maybe that comes out later. But it's pretty clear that St. Louis did not want Alex Pietrangelo anymore. Crazy as it sounds. Strange, though, that move would precipitate Nate Schmidt getting dealt for a 3rd-round pick.
To a team that we thought had no money. And they said, want to bet. By the way, the way to guarantee that a team is going to acquire another big money player is to tell them they have to get rid of one of the big money players they already have. It happened with the Penguins. They're going to have to trade one of Crosby or Malkin, remember?
Yeah.
F you, and they go out and they get Kessel.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And now Vancouver. Now, I look at them, and I was trying to think of a criticism for Jim Benning, and there are plenty, obviously, in the way he's done this offseason. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a sec. They only have $2 million in cap room right now, and they still have to re-sign Jake Virtanen and Adam Gaudette. Man, if you have a chance to get Nate Schmidt, you drive both of those guys to the airport.
Yep.
If you want to be, conscious of social distancing, you make 2 trips. But it's Nate Schmidt.
Yep. And it's
having
Nate Schmidt
a 1-2
for a third.
For a third, and you have a 1-2 on your left side now for the foreseeable future of Quinn Hughes and Nate Schmidt. And re-signing Quinn Hughes is the difficult part.
Right. But that's next year's problem. And Jim has already shown that he doesn't really think in terms of years. He thinks in terms of what's in front of my face this minute when it comes to free agency. Let's be honest.
And there are guys coming off the books eventually.
There's about $9 million coming off the books, but Pettersson and Hughes are up next year. So that's one of them.
That's tough. That's
going to be tough. Honestly, they're going to have to buy out Louis Eriksson. I know nobody wants to talk about it, but they're going to have to buy out Louis Eriksson. Now,
I still think he'll become a Sen.
Oof, man, I don't know. But anyway, besides the point.
Sure.
When we talk about Jim Benning falling into a great deal, and I got to give the Canucks credit, him and his staff, for grinding Vegas down and giving them a third for Nate Schmidt, who is an outstanding defenseman. You almost wonder if the Leafs hadn't assigned TJ Brody, if they'd known Nate Schmidt was available for a third eventually, they don't sign anybody July 1st.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
You can't take that risk. But I have to tell you, I do think that the Leafs would be like, give me all of that Nate Schmidt. Although he does bring a lot of the same things Morgan Riley does just on the right side. That's why we like TJ Brody. And I'm not saying they made the wrong choice. I'm just saying they might have done the other thing.
I'm just looking at Cap Friendly right now. Half the league could afford Nate Schmidt if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And the Canucks did.
Right. But that half of the league is on internal budgets right now. So maybe they could.
This is the issue.
So, but the point I'm trying to get to here is that Doug Armstrong has made the Canucks stronger. And the only way this has to end is the Canucks and St. Louis Blues in the playoffs. And I sincerely hope the Canucks win, because that would be perfect circle kind of shit that I absolutely love.
They've already done it.
What do you mean?
The Canucks beat the Blues this year.
Oh, well, they have to beat them again, though, with Nate Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know
Makes
they
it
did
even
that.
better.